Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
And Rutledge, editor-in-chief.
Rutledge, site founder.
And Andrew Stretch is gone. He went into a poke coma where he just played Pokemon so much that he fainted.
Might call him a deaditor now.
Deaditor. I thought we didn't have to deal with that shit with him gone.
Well, someone's got to carry the torch, unfortunately.
He made a life-size Pokeball to sleep in preparation for Scarlet and Violet.
And just fetal position in it.
And he made it very realistic in that the bed clips through the Pokeball.
No, but he is off on a little vacation trip of some sort today. So we will be doing the podcast without him. But if you want to know about his thoughts on Pokemon, we do have a video up on our YouTube channel with him and our social editor, Christian Buckley, where they chat about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, compared a little bit to Arceus.
Yeah, so should you buy it? And they talk about should you buy it?
Yeah, the link will be down below in the comments or in the article, wherever you're listening. We will also be going through some of the Game Awards nominees today from the official TM Game Awards. If you'd like to follow along with us, we're going to kind of do a live voting thing. So, you know, if you want to prep that while we go through some of the news, feel free to do so. And we will also have timestamps down below for everything if you ever get lost. So check it out in the comments. So let's get into the news. Dead Island 2. The game we're all very excited for. It's already my favorite game of 2023. I haven't played it yet.
Wait, just a second. Is it part of? It's not on the most anticipated games list. That's a bunch of horseshit. Anyway, next for the Game Awards.
Yeah, it's not on the most anticipated games list, but it did move. It used to be, or it was going to come out in February. Now they've delayed the release date to April. It's only like a 2-month delay, so now you can expect it to hit your consoles and PCs on April 28th, where they just need a few more weeks of polish to make this the greatest game. They
need to add some shadows to those screenshots we saw to make it look like those things actually belong there.
I still love that we're using that screenshot in our article. If
it's photoshopped. Yeah,
it's in the article. It's so
those
good.
Those official first screenshots they put out are such garbage. It makes the game look so fake. It looks like one of those fake ads someone made of like a game, like to get you to click on some scam.
Yeah, all that's left is pulling like a lever and then coins falling or something.
Right, it's a little pachinko. I feel like it just feels so thematically on point for Dead Island 2 to do this. Because I mean, if you haven't been playing games long, you'll know that Dead Island 2 is just like it feels like vaporware. Right, because the first Dead Island,
a decade ago,
literally almost a decade ago, and then it went through development hell, delays. Like it just kind of went radio silent. Everyone just assumed, like, I guess it's gone. And then Dying Light came around and kind of carried on that idea. And then they had that reveal, the re-reveal in Gamescom this year, right, just a few months ago, with like a trailer and everything. Right, so it was like, okay, we're serious.
Well, we had that before. We had a trailer before.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
this had gameplay though.
Yes, the Gamescom one had gameplay, and then the release date. So it felt like, okay, maybe it's finally happening, and then we get another delay. It just feels so.
I hope it just keeps getting delayed. That's kind of what it delayed. I hope. I don't think, but I hope. I hope it does.
It'll still release before Star Citizen.
It's everything will. Yeah. It's such a it's funny that like when Dead Island came out and then they announced Dead Island 2, that was all the rage and like media and games was zombies everywhere. Fucking Call of Duty got in on zombies a little before that. Like it was everything was zombies, and they're like, hey, do people still like zombies? Like, I guess The Walking Dead's still on the air. Isn't it?
There's a bunch of zombie games coming out still. So
there still are, but like it was always like big, yeah. It was always big AAA stuff. Seemed like it was always dominating all the news and advertisement stuff. Was all these fucking zombies.
I think it's just an easy theme, probably, when it comes to kind of creating a story too. So
sure,
yeah.
But it's funny that that wave is come and gone more or less, and the entire time.
I mean, Goat Sim has lapped it and created a trailer based on Actually, now I think about it, is that the most iconic thing about Dead Island? The trailers.
Yep. Well, like when that trailer came out, everybody couldn't stop talking about the original like cinematic for Dying Light 2 because it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was super hyped for it, and that was the only thing we saw about it.
Yeah. Do you mean Dead Island 2?
That's what I said. I don't know.
Or Dying Light 2.
Oh.
But yeah. I mean, I think that's what it was too. And like same with the first game, right? The first game had a really like kind of tug at your heartstrings, like kind of trailer as well. I feel like that's
very Last of Us Part 1 opening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now that's the legacy of Dead Island: is good trailers and who do you voodoo bitch.
Yeah, and also the first game was like real mid. It's a real mid game.
Yeah. Like truly the definition of mid.
Yeah.
Hey, like I remember playing through that game and it was like the first hour is cool. First hour or two is pretty cool. And then it's that same thing for like 20 more hours. Maybe 30 more.
I think the hotel area was pretty good. And then you went to the second area and that was where I just kept falling off.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it got to be like such a big world and there weren't that many vehicles. You were just kind of running around all the time and it just didn't feel great. So, I mean, we'll see. Dead Island 2 might pull it off in April. I mean, maybe that 12 weeks of polish is what they need, right?
So like, I can joke about like the zombie stuff. Like a zombie setting can be interesting and compelling. Most of them aren't because it's kind of lazy in that you have increased tension just by the nature of the setting. So they get lazy in other ways. So they rely on that too often, it feels like. But I mean, it's ripe for all kinds of cool stuff that can happen. So who knows? I'd be very happy if it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I never want a game to fail other than, I don't know, there's probably some. But
Sonic Frontiers.
I don't want Sonic to fail. It's like one of those laws of nature. If it's a Team Sonic made Sonic game, it's going to suck. That's the end of it.
Right.
They don't know how to make it. They know how to make Puyo Puyo Tetris, and that's it.
It's in their name.
Yeah. Team Sonic?
Yeah.
They don't know how to make Sonic? Yeah, that's what that means.
Yeah. So we'll see on April 28th, maybe, unless Dead Island 2 gets another delay, but hopefully not. I mean, I think they seem to be on a decent path.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, maybe it'll be a PAX East that we were talking about before. You can get your hands on it.
Oh yeah, it might actually be at PAX East. Maybe. Yeah. All right. Well, let's chat about Sonic. Not Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, but Mr. Sonic.
Mr. Sonic himself, Yuji Naka, famous for his best game, Balan Wonderworld. Wonderland? Wonderworld?
Wonderland.
Balan Wonderland.
I don't know. Wonder something. Who cares?
Yeah, we'll get Dash to tweet out.
I don't think I'll ever get that right.
Me neither. It's Balan something. It's Balan garbage. But Yuji Naka has just been arrested by the Tokyo District Police Prosecutors Special Investigation Division for insider trading, along with two other Square Enix employees, Taisuke Sasaki and their acquaintance Fumiaki Suzuki, because allegedly they knew about Dragon Quest Tact before the public did, and they bought a lot of shares in the company Aiming, which was teaming up with Square Enix at the time to make Dragon Quest Tact, knowing Dragon Quest is like one of the biggest things in Japan, like just period things in Japan, right? So they were like, okay, we're going to buy stocks in Aiming. So when the game comes out, it's going to do gangbusters and they'll make a lot of money out of it. And they are now arrested because that's called insider trading and you can't do that.
I think you're selling Yuji Naka a little short. Well, yeah. Selling Yuji Naka a little short. He was he had a big role in the creation of Sonic itself.
Oh yeah, like he's a co-creator of it. Yeah.
So he's been around. What's funny? The funniest part to me. Well, I mean, he had all that drama with Balan Wonderworld and like doubling down on it and claiming a bunch of stuff with Square, a bunch of real dumb stuff. Yeah. But the funniaest part to me about the whole story is that it was for like no money, basically. I mean, it's going to be like $20,000 US. I mean, that is money. It's not like a humongous amount of money. And like, let's say he doubled his money, like it stock doubled in price. He was only going to make 20 grand is what he did that for.
Right.
Like
The other dudes
go big or go
invested
home.
$340,000.
Yeah, they're smart.
Like
Oh,
they
got
went all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
the
it's-
severity of the crime is definitely bigger on the other two than it is for
Yeah.
Yuji right now.
But it's like why Bob? Why like I don't know. It's
Yeah, I feel like just recently there's been an uptrend in more like quote unquote real stories in the gaming space, like this sort of stuff, or like people not getting credited in games, or people coming out and like abused and all that, right? Like I feel like we're getting a lot of it, like more of those more serious types of stories.
Yeah.
This is the first I can think of like insider trading being widely reported in the gaming space,
At least by a
famous, like
name,
a big,
like a figure we know, like
Yeah.
a public
Usually
figure.
it's smaller names.
Yeah, I'm sure
Right,
there's
right.
plenty of examples of people we don't know about.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, but this would be like if Hideo Kojima came out and was like
Well,
arrested for insider trading.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know
Like,
why
he
I'd say
would've-
Yuji Naka's a Kojima guy.
Well, but it's like
Level.
another, household
Yeah.
name type person.
It'd be like
right?
if you heard about Cliffy B doing it. Don't get mad at that, Cliffy. If you ever see this,
Still calling him Clippy.
I know he loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just funny to see that this is happening from Dragon Quest Tact. Like of all the things,
Yeah,
right?
not like,
it's like
Dragon Quest, the next
mobile-
Dragon Quest game, like mainline game or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little mobile game.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you'd need it to be this though, right? Because they have partnered with a smaller company.
That's
like
true.
no
So
one
you
would
could
have
do it in another company. Yeah.
Right. No one would have like if you like everyone knows Dragon Quest 12 is coming, right? But you can't just like buy more stocks in Square Enix to like make
Yeah.
money off that, right?
Not as an employee, at least.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole
It's just a funny story. It wouldn't be a funny story without Balan Wonderworld or whatever it's called existing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
it's just funny to see kind of like the downward spiral Yuji Naka's kind of been going on. Because even like on Twitter, on the hellscape known as Twitter right now, Elon Musk's Twitter, he's been tweeting out a lot of like kind of more inflammatory things recently, or just kind of more, or just like not inflammatory, but like, how do you put it?
Questionable.
Yeah, he's becoming more like combative a little from what I've seen on Twitter, where he's like kind of getting in the comments and responding to people in like somewhat aggressive ways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Yuji Naka. Yeah, but
Well,
It's all a shit show right now.
he seems to be doing just making the wrong decisions over and over again right now. So hopefully he realizes what he's doing.
yeah, I wonder. I mean, I guess to be fair, right? This is all alleged. It's not
True, but I mean, isn't also like Japan famous for like 99% prosecution rate or some shit like that?
Yeah.
So like,
So I wonder how much punishment he'll get out of this, right? Yeah. Maybe he needs Phoenix Wright to
right.
defend him in court. The 100% success rate defense attorney.
he always wins.
Yes. All right, I think let's shift gears. Let's talk about some game awards. Some
Hell
video
yes.
game Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. So if you want to vote along with us at home, we're going to start on most anticipated game and work our way backwards up to Game of the Year. We are skipping a lot of the esports stuff because, I mean, honestly, I don't think the three of us could really seriously talk about esports in a way that is
It's fantasy
meaningful.
football and esport.
Technically,
I could talk about that.
yeah, it's an electronic sport,
Yeah,
right?
so I could talk about that. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yes.
any fantasy football stuff nominated though, so
Shame.
it's vastly underrepresented.
Maybe next year.
It's
Maybe
next
next
year's their year.
Yeah.
Sponsored
next-
by DraftKings.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, most anticipated game, we have Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, I mean, I think we all can guess who's probably going to win.
Right.
It's probably
Hogwarts Legacy.
Zelda,
No?
but I don't know. None of those are like, oh my god, I can't fucking wait. Really, like,
I
what I mean?
mean, Final Fantasy and Zelda kind of for me. They're both like
you think so?
I chose Final Fantasy.
This is such a weird award anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, everyone's gonna be a little different. Like, I'm sure there are people out there who are like, Starfield, baby. Starfield's the only game for me right
I'm
now.
sure.
Like, you know.
I mean, they're on the same level as Sonic fans for me, but
Wow. Wow. Subhuman. Starfield
here
fans
constantly calling people subhuman.
are also subhuman.
well, I mean, people that are way into the Bethesda-made games, as in Bethesda are the developers. They
Fair.
they're garbage. Skyrim
No
sucks.
comment.
Skyrim's terrible.
I mean, I think Skyrim was fun on November 11, 2011. Since then, it's been the same game for 11 years now.
Skyrim was the exact same game as Oblivion.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
No, there's dragons.
yep. And you can shout
it's
at
the same
people.
game. It's the same
Yep.
game. Starfield is
Nope.
just that with no dragons.
I hope there are dragon shouts in Starfield.
Space dragons.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
All right, let's
Anyway.
I'm on board.
move on to the next one. Best adaptation.
Wait, who are we voting on? What are we voting for? We gotta.
We're doing like a.
We're gonna vote.
Okay,
I'm
well,
I'm gonna
voting.
get roasted in the comments.
I voted
Final
Zelda.
Fantasy 16.
I voted Zelda.
I voted Final Fantasy 16 also.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Best adaptation. We've got Arcane, League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, The Cuphead Show, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted.
Was
Sounds
Arcane
fucking
last
easy.
year? I thought Arcane was the year before last.
I
Was
Was
it
it
early this year?
2020? Was it 2022?
I think so.
no way. I thought it was last year. Has it really been that short of time?
Was
Yeah, it came out November 6th,
6th,
last year.
2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it on here?
Yeah.
Oh,
should
did
be.
it
No,
fit?
the
Did
Game
its
Award-
run?
the Game
Its run
Awards-
finished after the Game Awards. Yeah,
Correct.
So it
So
was like
that'll be
it just made it into the early.
just made it into
Mhm.
2022s. Okay. I
Okay.
mean,
It's Arcane for me.
Yeah, Arcane was.
it's not Uncharted. What the hell?
Wow, really?
Oh, I
You're
did like that movie.
you big
No.
Uncharted, big Spider-Man
No, I
fan?
mean, I did like Edge Runners, but
Yeah,
it's
Edge
got to
Runner-
be Arcane though, right? Like,
Yeah,
kinda-
Edge Runners
It's
was
easily Arcane.
yeah, Edge Runners was surprisingly good, but
Yeah.
Arcane is easily
It's
like
pretty great.
yeah, it's like kind of Game of Thronesy, but also like you know, in the whole like there's so many different factions kind of
Yeah, I
going for a
guess
thing.
so.
Yeah. So it's all Arcane, straight up,
All
like
Arcane.
up and down. All right.
Oh boy, this next one's a
No.
rough one.
Yeah. Best debut indie: Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors.
Well, we all
Oh,
know
so-
who Stretch would have voted for, but he's not here to say it.
Pokemon isn't on this list.
He'd be voting for Tunic.
He'd be
Yeah.
voting for Tunic.
Yeah.
He's
Wouldn't
always
even be a
said that's
question.
his game of the year. So
Oh, wait, maybe that should be the rest of this. Like, we should also try to figure out what Stretch would pick.
Do that, yeah. I like it.
Stretch
Okay. Stretch would
Easily
pick
Tunic on this one.
Yes.
he talks about all time.
Right.
Yep.
My vote here, I think, is Vampire Survivors.
I'm the same.
Vampire
it's-
Survivors is pretty great.
It's
I won't
pretty great.
deny
and
it.
it's very unassuming and such a
Yes.
pleasant surprise.
It looks like some fucking banner ad hot garbage.
Yeah, it looks like a Flash game you would have played in
Like,
like middle or high school.
You would assume
hell
it's
yeah.
a scam if you saw it as an advertisement on a website. You'd be like, I'm not clicking that. I'm not
Bro,
falling
if
for that
this was
shit.
on mini clip back in the day, game over.
But it's super fun. There was a time when I did play it for it's super addicting.
And he just keeps adding more stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
good.
like
I haven't played in a while.
every
so maybe
2
I
weeks
should.
there's been like a large update. So
Oh,
like
God.
there's been a lot of work put
Played it
into
in a
it.
while.
And it's on consoles now too. So like,
True.
yeah,
So, but you guys are both wrong. It's not Vampire Survivors, but
it's
it's a
Norco for
good
you,
one.
right?
It's a good one.
Norco. Yep.
Tunic, we gave a 9 out of 10 on our site. It's an extremely very good game. Stray's okay. Stray gets too many points for being a cat.
Yes.
It's not bad, but it's not like this mind blowing fucking game everybody says it is.
No. It's just a
Neon
cute
White's one of the few 10 out of 10s we gave. It's like our 8th 10 out of 10 we ever given.
Yeah. I mean, Neon
On
White
site.
is very good. Like, to me, I think all of them except Stray are
Very good.
pretty good.
Norco to me is definitely my vote. It's, I think, one of the most interestingly written games in a while.
Yeah.
It's a very well crafted game, and the writing is some of the best you find in games.
Yeah.
So it's got to be that to me.
Yeah. I got to get back to
Good
that
stuff.
one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it's Norco for Auden, Vampire Survivors for Rut and I, and then Tunic for Stretch.
What a loser.
Yeah.
Oh god, let's skip this one.
Content creator of the year. We skipping this one?
Rebellion, easy.
Yeah, Rebellion.
Yeah, I guess we'll give it to him, even though he's not. I mean, there's a debate of whether he's content creator, but
yeah, but he's departed the hellhole.
He's been such an important part of
I'm not
the
gonna deny what he's done at all.
Mm-hmm. So Rebellion. We'll just say Stretch says that too, right?
Yeah.
Best multiplayer: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiverses, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. One of these things is not like the other.
I've literally only played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so
I have played none of them, so
I'm sorry.
So should we skip it?
I don't have any insight.
Should we just vote for Splatoon 3 to give Dan like a
we'll throw Dan a bone.
A moral win? Yeah.
I feel like that's enabling bad, stuff for him now.
Splatoon 3 sold like really well in Japan. Like,
yeah, he's not Japanese
really well. Well, yeah, I know. But I mean, it's like there's a surprising group of people who are fans of it.
No, we're going for Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
TMNT.
TMNT. The next category, best sports / racing, because those are the same thing. F1 22, FIFA 23, NBA 2K 23, Gran Turismo 7, and Ollie Ollie World.
I haven't played any of them.
Let's go into Ollie Ollie World, man.
Yeah, Ollie Ollie World's pretty cool. Gran Turismo 7 is really weird. Like it has a legacy.
And it had all that weird shit with the paying and the microtransaction and all that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right.
The yearly sports games are all garbage. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ollie Ollie World. I feel comfortable with that for this.
Yep.
Yeah. Not that our choices really matter, but Yeah.
No, we're deciding who's winning right now.
Yeah, we are the Game Awards.
Yes.
Best sim / strategy: Dune Spice Wars, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Total War Warhammer 3, 2 Point Campus, and Victoria 3.
God, this time of year just makes me realize how little I've played.
Too much Hunt.
Too much Hunt Showdown.
Yeah.
You gotta diversify your gaming.
I try, and then I just go right back to Hunt. It's a very abusive relationship.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh.
So, is it Total War Warhammer 3 for you? I feel like
heck yes, it is good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly with the new update with the God, what do they call it now?
Where it's like all of them like
everything is in one.
3. Yeah,
the massive map. I'm annoyed that I'm blanking on the name, but the Total War Warhammer series is just absurd in the level of detail and granularity that you can get into with, and that everything is so. I genuinely can't think of something that has so much unique content packed into one package. Yeah, that all fits together. And they're going to be making stuff for it for a little while. Like, it's absurd the amount of stuff that's in it.
Mm-hmm. It's like the ultimate package for Warhammer fans. Well, for
strategy,
fans.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
it's a great game. I mean, there's other great games like Mario Rabbids. I have not gotten around to the sequel yet, but I heard it's excellent. Mm-hmm. First one was good, fun. Apparently, this one adds enough to take it up another level.
Yeah. And I hear the 2 Point games are pretty fun too, like 2 Point Hospital, 2 Point Campus. I imagine it's like perfectly silly and good.
I've not had a chance to try out Dune.
I know that we have a pretty favorable review on our site, I think, of it.
Yeah.
Will really liked it.
And people have been talking about Victoria 3 as a bunch of people like learning that capitalism's bad. It basically, you have to be a bad landlord and bad like person to like get ahead, because like, hey, sorry, child labor, you need it or you'll fail.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
Right. But my vote, I think, is going to go to Warhammer 3, just based on everything you've said about it and how big of a scale it is. I feel like it's like the ultimate strategy game right now. It's absurd.
If it wasn't such a niche like gameplay style, like of game, a lot more people would be playing it. But it's just such a unique thing that it's never going to get humongous. It's big enough, like it's a big series, but it doesn't have quite the mainstream appeal.
Right. Next category. Best family. Kirby.
Basically, this is the Nintendo category.
Yeah. Kirby and the Forgotten Land by Nintendo, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope by Nintendo and Ubisoft, Nintendo Switch Sports by Nintendo, Splatoon 3 by Nintendo.
I mean, if we're thinking real true family, like what's a family gonna play together? It's probably sports. That's what bowling. Remember Wii Sports, people doing bowling and everything all together. That's probably genuinely the one that people are playing together.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think so. I think Switch Sports is the move
Like
here.
to the point of I have my nephew's now 4, going to be 5, and I thought I don't have a Wii hooked up or anything, and I was like, dude, he'd probably get a kick out of fucking bowling and other stuff on there. I almost bought the sports the other day. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, I played a little bit of the Switch Sports one, and like the bowling in that I feel like is pretty comparable to the Wii. So it's like they nailed that, and the rest of it's like good to go, right?
Yeah.
Next category: Best Fighting Game, DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, The King of Fighters 15, Multiverses, and Sifu, which is a weird...
Controversial. Sifu shouldn't be in this whatsoever. It's not a fighting game.
No. Like, it's a game where you fight people.
Yes.
But it's not a fighting game.
It's not a traditional fighting game.
You might as well put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in this. It's it's a beat 'em up that's complicated is what Sifu is.
Yeah, that's all it is. It has the combos and everything, but it's not like you're fighting against an enemy. And I feel like that's a pretty core part of what makes a fighting game, right?
Yeah. This is like Sleeping Dogs would be on this fucking list if it came out today. Like, no.
It's an open world fighting game.
Yeah. Isn't that what they're doing with like they're having some weird open world thing with Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that'll be.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I don't know. I feel like this year for fighting games has been okay.
Of those, what's the one? I mean, I know people were excited for new King of Fighters, but I don't know how the reception's been.
Yeah, I mean, King of Fighters is one I don't follow as much. It's not really one on my radar. I know DNF Duel was kind of fun. Just it's Arc System.
I mean, it's Arc System.
So,
they're always going to make something that's decent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If I had to say for Game Awards, I feel like Multiverses is the answer here. I think it's the one with the
people
widest
playing
appeal. A lot of people played it.
Very popular.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote Chaos and vote Sifu next.
Vote Sifu. All right. I'm voting Multiverses. Oh, I hope. Is Final Fantasy Origin on this? Or was that?
Not at all.
Ugh, shame.
What? These awards are a scam.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Best role playing game.
Oh, this is where it'll show up.
No, it doesn't. Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, which is still a dumb name, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Elden Ring.
I mean, it's not really a debate here. It's Elden Ring.
No, it's Elden Ring. Yeah.
Nothing. It's. I can tell you for sure what it's not. It's not fucking Arceus. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I mean, Xenoblade 3 is fine. I don't think it's great to me. I feel like it's
most of the people I talk to, like, you just get tired part of the way through. It's so long.
Yeah,
like, I think you talked about it on the podcast. Isaac said it. A couple other people.
RPGs in general. I don't think you could lay that at their feet.
Well, because I think with Xenoblade 3, to me it fails at is I got 60-ish hours in, right? I gave this fucking college try, and it's complicated for no reason. Like, there's no real reward to the complexity of it, so you just kind of feel mindless most of the time, and that just kind of sucks after 60 hours to me. So, yeah. But I know that the Xenoblade fan base is very eager, very dedicated.
Well, I think it's part of it is it feels like with them it's like just they want like a recognition, like we are legitimate, we're a real series. We're Final Fantasy too. Like Final Fantasy is we're on the same level. It's like, no, you're not.
No,
it's not close. But that's how they want to be seen, it feels like.
Well, either way, I think Elden Ring takes the cake.
It's Elden Ring.
It's not even a question.
Yeah. Best action / adventure: A Plague Tale: Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic.
You know what Stretch's vote is?
Yeah, Stretch will be Tunic again. Tunic is incredible. No question. Yeah. It's incredible with all the stuff that's going on in it.
Mm-hmm.
Very layered game.
Very unique.
Yeah. Of these, for me, I think it's an easy Ragnarok pick.
Yes, I've not played
Easy for me.
Requiem yet. I want to. I plan on it. A Plague Tale, but I mean, the first one was just kind of like okay.
Yeah.
All right, it was fine.
Yeah. I didn't beat the first one. I got partway through, and I was like, "This is okay," but I'm good now. I can put it down, right? And that's kind of what I worry about with the second game as well. So
apparently, it's got a little bit more going on, but yeah. And Horizon Forbidden West is fine. It's good.
Yeah, you put a lot of time into it, right? Didn't you beat it?
I did everything. I platinumed it on accident.
What? Just stumbled into it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I didn't intend to. Just for some reason, that
It
game
good, didn't it?
No, I was when I got it, I was kind of mad.
It's a stain on your reputation.
You were so anti-achievement. It's not even funny.
I didn't want it at all, but it got into my brain of like the thing is on the map. I got to see the thing, and it's very heavy. That for some reason it got in like my brain drilled into it.
Getting it.
Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with fucking achievements. Quit nodding along.
I'll say that's where I'm at now with God of War. Is I want
to see all the
everything.
Things.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've gotten that heavy feeling that like sometimes when I leave an area after doing like the quest, I'm like, but I didn't. There's a thing there.
Yeah, well, some of those things you won't even get until
I've frustratingly noticed.
Yeah,
that is the case.
Yeah, but yeah, God of War Ragnarok is the easy.
Ragnarok's amazing.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
It's great. Perfect action, great adventure,
great story, great writing.
Yeah. Okay, now we're doing just best action game, not action adventure, but just action. Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
I'm gonna give my votes Neon White in honor of Austin.
Yeah, Neon White was pretty good, right? Like, I think it really nailed that feeling of action and just like you just zone in. Yeah. Like for me, it's between Neon White or Bayonetta, because Bayonetta, voice acting controversy aside, very fun, very like, I mean, it's exactly what you want from a Bayonetta 3 in terms of combat.
It's what you want from a platinum game.
Yes, you're mashing the buttons in a strategic way.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think my vote's on Neon White for this.
I think so.
Yeah, because Neon White's like new. It's a new like strategy. It's a new genre almost, right? Like it's mixing together two things that you don't really think about, or three things really. What, speedrunning, first person platforming, cards, shooting. Like it's a weird mishmash. Yeah. So I'm on Neon White here.
Oh, here we go. We got an expert in the room now for this next category.
Yeah, best AR VR. Right, you know all of these games, right?
That's right.
I haven't played any of them yet.
Oh no!
I had the VR for like 3 days.
Should we skip this then? Because I don't do VR.
I don't have VR either.
I'm looking forward to picking up after the fall.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Are you gonna play Among Us? Are you gonna
Among Us?
I will not play Among Us. Do you want to check out Bone Lab and
I don't know. It's kind of sus, dude.
Kind of sus.
We all know what you're really doing with the VR headset anyway.
I play Beat Saber.
Yeah, Beat Saber
that is what you're doing.
If Beat Saber, if Beat Saber were on this list, I'd vote for it. But it came out like years ago, right?
Yeah, it's.
I'll talk about what I've been playing. It's been fun.
Yeah, but for the audience, at least for best AR/VR, it's After the Fall, Among Us VR, Bone Lab, Moss Book 2, and Red Matter 2. We probably won't vote just because we are not experts in this, but if you are at home, feel free. Innovation and Accessibility Award: As Dusk Falls, God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, The Last of Us Part 1, and The Quarry.
I'm going to say I don't know enough about all the accessibility stuff to say definitively. I do know that The Last of Us is like the accessibility stuff's like insanely detailed. Like you can you can like customize it to be whatever you want. I don't know how innovative it necessarily was, unless it's just in terms of sheer options. It's pretty insane. Yeah,
I feel like the most press you usually get for accessibility comes from both the PlayStation games here, Ragnarok and Last of
Yeah,
Us.
I don't remember
haven't
hearing
seen
much
as
about the
with
quarry with accessibility.
Yeah, or As Dusk Falls or Return to Monkey Island.
Yeah, those
But-
two, the Ragnarok and Last of Us, have definitely been talked about the most in accessibility circles this year.
Yeah,
So
like
one of those two for sure.
my gut wants to say Last of Us Part 1 only because I know that Part 2 had like also very insane accessibility.
Yeah, and they apparently
features
just
to
added
it.
more to this one. So
Yeah, you can read about some of those features on our site as well. We have a really great write up on the Part 2 accessibility, but my vote's going to be on Part 1 for the award. Yeah.
Yep.
best community support.
Best sponsored by Discord. Best community support. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
So I see. Maybe it's just the circles I'm in. I don't really play any of these games regularly at all in any way. I just learned what Fortnite was this year, so
Right, Grandpa.
I've been following it. And but I seem to hear a lot about the community stuff in terms of the team being involved with the community with Destiny 2. Like a lot. Like all of these games are pretty well supported, but in terms of like actual like community people interacting, I see it happening all the fucking time with Destiny 2.
I mean, there was that one stunt they did recently where like one of their OP. I'm speaking as like a way outside of the Destiny community, but from what I understand, one of their like OP exotic legendary guns, which has been bugged for years, took over their Twitter account for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Right? So that's fun. And I think that alone is like, that's some fun community like support and like, I
think from a content perspective, Final Fantasy 14 takes the cake in terms of how much they've pumped out over the last year.
Yeah, if we're talking about like you continue to update games and stuff.
Yeah, but once you get into community, I think it's definitely Destiny 2 or Fortnite.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like years ago I would have continuously said like, "Oh, No Man's Sky easy," because they're just like they've dug out of the hole, like they continue to climb up. Right now, I feel like they've been out of the hole, so I feel like for some reason I just see
kind of their level
is a
at this
little
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
like it's not upward, right? It's more of a straight,
which is not a bad thing. I think.
Yeah.
If more games could hit kind of a level, we'd be in great shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hey, Apex Legends is there. Yeah. So Destiny 2, Fortnite. No, I mean Apex Legends is. I hear that. I mean they've got like 25 characters now, like, and they're being very strategic with how they want to do their updates, right? So I think Apex is also pretty good. I don't know. My gut is leaning to Destiny 2 only because of how like playful and fun they are on socials and how they're like really one of the players, right? In a way, like yeah. That's my vote, I think. Next category, best mobile game.
It's definitely Diablo Immortal.
That's the meme side of me wants to vote that.
Right, because don't you guys have phones? But the nominees are Apex Legends Mobile, Diablo Immortal, Genshin Impact, Marvel Snap, and Tower of Fantasy. I feel like the answer is Marvel Snap.
It's Marvel Snap. It's not even a question.
I still play it. What is my collector level now? What's your?
I played
what
it
are
for
you
like
at?
2 hours this morning. My wife was playing the index, and I was just Marvel snapping.
What's your collection level? That collector level?
I think I'm like 400 now.
Oh my god, you guys!
Ooh, what 400? What?
Collection level.
400 what?
Yeah, 400 and what? I'm curious where we're at.
Yeah, open up the game real quick.
Comparison, yeah.
I
got it. I've got
400 collection level.
Oh, it's just 400.
Just 400?
Yeah.
You fucking scrub. I'm at 462.
Oh my
Damn, you're further than me.
Jeez.
Well, it's one of those things I've noticed that like every night before bed, I'm like, I'll just play like 2 or 3 matches and go to sleep.
And it turns
like
into
2 or 3
15.
hours.
Well, more
that's
like
every night for me.
7 or 8, but yeah.
I've also done a poor job of buying the fast upgrades in the store. So I could probably be a lot higher. I'm like maxed out on credits right now. It keeps yelling at me.
You guys.
Oh, yeah, spend it. Anyway.
So Marvel Snap wins our little...
Easy.
That's good stuff.
Easy here. Okay, best indie, Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, Tunic. See,
Cult of the Lamb for me.
This is a rough one.
Cult of the Lamb for you. Okay, so you liked it a lot.
I liked it a
pretty
lot.
good.
I 100%ed it in like 2 days. I just kept playing.
Wow. I don't know. I think for me, it's Neon White of these.
Yeah, Neon White is just, it's just really fucking good at what it's trying to do.
Yeah, and there's like no other game like it.
Yeah. I think I gotta go with Tunic though.
Yeah, you're a Tunic.
The design behind it was pretty fucking stellar.
A resident stretch right now. Yeah.
If you remember when we originally talked about when it came out, me and him were talking about it pretty heavily.
Oh yeah, you two were really
liked it a lot. Tunic was great.
Yeah. Okay, so we're a little spread out on this. I mean, it's been a pretty decent year for indies, right? So
yeah,
it's been a really good year for indies.
Yeah. All right, best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
Kind of gotta say Genshin.
Oh, really?
Genshin Impact.
How many continents are they at now? 3 or 4?
I don't even know. I just published the guides, man.
Yeah, just hit publish on them.
I don't know. I don't know enough about. I know Final Fantasy 14 is amazing. It won our award last year for best. We do a similar award.
Yeah, it did win that one. I feel like Fortnite to me is speaking to me right now.
It's kind of been doing a lot of cool shit lately.
Yeah, it's been doing cool. There's been a Goku in it, which is pretty cool.
I mean, any game with a Goku that's not a Dragon Ball. A Kami Yamami.
Yeah, Kami Yamami. Yeah, but I feel like Fortnite has kind of just this year. It feels like it's endured and then kind of not flourished.
They did no build.
Yeah, no build. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it is because that's what brought me in to play a bit of it.
That's the only reason I went back to it for a bit.
Yeah, and now no build is like a permanent part of it, at least as far as I'm aware. Right?
It is. Yeah, it's the core gameplay now.
Yeah. So that. Good. Yeah, I think that's what clinches it for me. I think I'm going to vote for that.
The build meta was what made me leave. Sure. The no build meta is what brought me back.
Yes. Yeah. Games for Impact: A Memoir Blue, As Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling, Extinction is Forever, Hindsight, and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. So I don't think I've played any of these games. Citizen Sleeper is on my list, but I just haven't gotten to it.
None of them are.
I've played some Citizen Sleeper, and I know the gist of Endling. And I know about As Dusk Falls and A Memoir Blue. I don't know anything about Hindsight. I don't know. This is always such a weird fucking category to me. It's like, I get the purpose of it. I don't know. It just feels so manufactured in a way sometimes.
It does feel kind of odd for it's like there can only be one, right?
It's just strange. And it's like... none of these really show up anywhere else hardly either. It just feels strange.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to just skip this one then?
I don't think I can say with enough authority to know.
Right. Like I wish I could, but I don't know if I just can't say anything meaningful in a way.
Same.
Yeah. Best performance. This one will be a tough one. Ashley Birch in Horizon Forbidden West. Charlotte McBurney at A Plague Tale Requiem, Christopher Judge in God of War Ragnarok, Manon Gage in Immortality, or Sonny Suljic in God of War Ragnarok.
It's a good list.
It is a good list.
It's one game that I've been meaning to, I really, really want to get to is Immortality because of what I've heard of it. And apparently Manon is like really, really fucking good in it.
Interesting.
In particular.
Isn't that the one that's in FMV? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's pretty great.
Right.
I mean, they're all good. I mean, Ashley Birch is obviously one of the premier voice actors in gaming.
Yeah, like she's pretty ubiquitous now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's very good as Aloy.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Requiem, but I mean that she did a good job in the first game for Charlotte.
Right.
I mean, Kratos is Kratos, man.
Yeah, I think like I rolled credits on Ragnarok like 2 days ago. I think it's Christopher Judge.
I think so.
Yeah.
He is so good.
He's really great at Kratos, and Sonny Soljic's really good
Sonny's
too.
pretty good.
I think he really grew into the role. I mean, literally, right?
Yeah.
like literally grew up into the role.
Yeah.
But I think he nails Atreus in a way that it's believable that Atreus is a growing teenage boy who's trying to find his path to be a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I got to go with Christopher Judge also.
Yeah,
this Kratos, for being like, I mean, kind of an asshole. Kratos is kind of a dick a lot.
Yeah,
but he's very principled, and the way he's portrayed is pretty good. Yes. Yeah.
He's portrayed really well, and he's this believable, like, a man who regrets his past but has come to terms with it and has learned lessons from it, where he tries to impart those lessons onto others without being preachy about it.
Yeah.
Like he's a man of few but very powerful words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He does not speak without intention ever.
Yes. Like anytime you ask him a question that's a yes or no answer, all you get is no or yes.
Yes.
Like,
he's not. Yeah. He gives you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's fake. It's just him unfiltered, what he is.
Yeah. No bullshit.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what it's like working with Christopher Judge, we have our interview with Danielle Basutti, who plays Freya, coming out tomorrow. So check that out on our YouTube channels. Yes. It'll be on TechRaptor.net. It's pretty cool. She has a lot of nice words to say about him too.
Yep.
Yeah. Next category, best audio design: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, or Horizon Forbidden West. Gotta say, Gran Turismo 7, cars go vroom. I mean, like, literally, it's pretty good.
There's some good vroom.
Well, yeah, but it mixes well with the music too. So just all over, it's kind of like, yeah, this is pretty.
Very like Forza Horizon-y in terms of how well the music meshes with the gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Elden Ring to me is honestly the weakest on this list. To me, sound design it's not the thing that speaks to me when it comes to Elden Ring, right? The music is really good, but like in terms of the sound effects and like feeling like I'm in the space.
Yeah. I want to shout out Horizon a little bit. I think its sound design is pretty great.
Oh yeah,
first one was too.
With the monster, like the machines and everything around, like that's often a way how you know what it is before you see it. You're like, oh fuck. Mm-hmm. It really sets you into the space. It's got a lot of great sounds.
Yeah, and I think the sound too of like when you strip off a part, or like when you shoot.
There's a lot of very satisfying sounds that go with it, and it's a lot of just immersiveness where it all fits in, and just the way the world moves around you and how it comes through. I don't know. It's pretty well.
Yeah.
Sound design is one of those things that's kind of hard to talk about because when it's done well, it's like, oh yeah, that just everything made sense. Mm-hmm. Like, everything made sense, and it was satisfying when it should have been, and it was this when it should have been. So it's one of those things where it's hard to take note of it when it's like, oh, that's just how it should be, right? It's when it's bad is when you notice it. It's like, oh, that didn't work, or that was jarring to what has happening on screen or whatever.
And I think Ragnarok's is also pretty good. I mean, everything in the combat sounds great. Like when you hear Kratos swing that axe and it hits something, it's so meaty.
One of my favorite sounds in gaming is him grabbing the Leviathan X back and it fucking slaps into his hand.
Yes.
It's one of the best sounds.
Exactly.
It's so satisfying.
But I think too of like, there's like people are constantly talking in that game, right? Like Mimir's always telling a story, or you and your companion are chatting. And when you transition from like an outdoor area into a cave, like the voice seamlessly transitions into like, it gets echoey because you're in a cave now. So that sort of stuff, it just like, it's pretty good. And it's one of those things where if it's done well, you don't even notice it because you believe, like you just believably think, oh yeah, we're in a cave now, right? Like it just all makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean,
this is a tough one. I don't know. I think
I gotta give it to Horizon for me.
Yeah, Horizon does do the way what you mentioned before, that how the dinos will have their own.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they have a unique thing of when you're fighting them or just when they're out in the world, and that's how a lot of times it's an audio cue of when you're like, oh shit, that whatever I'm looking for is right there, or whatever.
Right.
Watch out for that shit, or oh god, it's after me now. Like
Right.
I didn't even see it, or whatever.
Right.
It just does a lot to really set you into that world.
Exactly. All right, next one, best score and music. We have Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Metal Hellsinger, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Easily Hellsinger for me.
Hellsinger was pretty good. The final boss song was pretty
good.
I still find myself like going back and listening to the music. Like I was just like, you know what, I want to listen to the soundtrack right now, and I'll just go hunt it down on YouTube and listen.
Yeah, the final boss, that's the one with Search in it, right?
It is.
Yeah. That one really fits. Like his voice is so good in that. The music in Xenoblade 3 was all right. I don't think anything stood out to me too much in it.
I don't know. God of War to me the soundtrack's been pretty understated so far. Not a lot that I've noticed.
There are moments where the music really comes in, and like tense moments or big fights where it's pretty good. I don't know if I would say it's the best in this category. I think for me it might be Elden Ring, because the boss fight themes in that
they're always one of the best things of From Software in general. But Elden Ring, I haven't played it, but I've watched a lot of it about it. Is that they're so fucking good at making boss fights just seem epic as hell.
Yeah,
like they're always this is like you're saving the world right now every moment. Like you're like it's so good.
The fight with Radagon, like the final boss fight song in that is truly amazing. It's like such a blood pumping march sort of song. Yeah. So for me, it's a toss up between Metal Hellsinger and Elden Ring. I think they're both really, really good at what they do, and they're both different, right? Because Metal Hellsinger is like
very different,
for truly metal, like, and it's a rhythm game too, right? So you're playing with the music. Yeah. I think I'm voting Elden Ring in this one, though.
I think I am as well.
And you're doing Metal Hellsinger, right, Rhett?
You know it.
Oh yeah. Best art direction: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, and Stray.
So I know that was the one really positive takeaway that Stretch had when he reviewed Scorn.
The art.
Most of the game's not that great, but the art design is pretty fantastic throughout, apparently.
Okay.
And I really do. Stray, I think, is worth this one category. I'm like, all right, this is pretty worthwhile for them because it's pretty fucking great.
Yeah, I to me, I think Stray's the winner here for me personally. Because that's the one thing where I will concede is the best part of the game is that cat's fucking adorable, and everything you do as a cat looks fantastic.
And running around that, everywhere is so great looking. Running around the city and everything.
Yeah, and the animations on the cat too are just like perfectly done.
And stuff like Horizon and God of War are breathtaking stuff. Like they're beautiful moment, like cool environments a lot of the times. There's just something about the cohesive nature of Stray that is great.
Yeah, because like Stray's not trying to break technical barriers. It's more going for like this its own direction. Whereas Horizon and God of War, they're just going for like, let's make this as pretty as possible, right? Which is it's great in its own way.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Stray was all about the immersion, I think.
Yeah.
Less so than anything else. Like you're literally a cat just exploring, and they built an entire world around that.
You are a kitty. All right, next category, best narrative: Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and Immortality. We're really starting to see a lot of the same games over and over.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
there's a lot of interesting conversations on Twitter about Elden Ring being included on this one.
Yes, no, I do not agree with that. I love Elden Ring to bits. I have played it 1.5 times. I fucking hate the storytelling in all of the FromSoft games. They're not good storytelling. Great stories, maybe, because you can read the Wikipedia page and you're like, oh, that is a good story. Storytelling, it is absolute shit at that. It doesn't tell you the story. You find the story. right?
It was kind of like OG Destiny, where you had to find the codexes or whatever
Yeah.
to learn the story.
Is it bad at storytelling though?
I think so.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it's
I don't
great at
know.
immersing you in the world, right? And you go to the places where you're like, oh, this is where that epic battle happened, or this is where that thing happened, right? But
Counterpoint: games are interactive, and they need you as the player to be a participant in them, right? Isn't that kind of a really great way to translate storytelling into gaming? Is that you, the player, have to actively participate in the story being told in terms of learning the story?
I could see that. But do you think it's the best narrative?
No, I was just making a point. I was just devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, right? Where it's like you feel like you are in the story in a way.
Well, it's a little bit of that, but it's like there's all about interactivity and finding out the next piece of the story. You're puzzling stuff together, putting it together, like, oh, and when gaming is really great to me is when there's those aha moments, and when you can have an aha moment and it can manufacture that in its storytelling, that's good. Whether that is just finding the missing puzzle, and you're like, oh, and you put it together with what you already know, you're like, oh shit, that's actually whatever this means, XYZ, or that's really cool, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, there are certain things where it's like you look at a boss fight differently because you've learned a thing, right? And then when you're fighting it, there's kind of like, depending on the boss, there could even be that feeling of like, oh, I don't want to kill you, but I have to because of whatever, right? Yeah. I could see that. Looking at this list, I have only beaten 2 of the games on it for narrative. So I haven't seen the full narrative of Horizon. I don't know if the ending is worthy of a payoff.
Are you looking to me for
a little bit? I mean, you have seen the end.
The ending it's all right. It's not amazing. It's a good setup for the next one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it without being way spoilery about it, but it's the one thing that is a knock against it. It's kind of is a bit of a tropey thing we've seen in like a sci-fi story. It's the main motivator of what's going to be the next one, seemingly, and it's like, oh, so I guess without spoiling too much, it's a rogue AI essentially, which has kind of been much of the story up to that point anyway, but in just a bigger scale, it seems like it's happening,
right?
And it's like, oh well, I mean, we've been down that road before, so it's fine. Like, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
Right, but you wouldn't say it's like a best narrative worthy. Like,
no, I wouldn't be arguing for that. A lot of what I've heard and reading around, and I really do need to play Immortality, is that it's got an incredible story.
Yeah,
but I just haven't played it.
Yeah, because that's my thing. Is right now my vote is Ragnarok because I think it does have a really good narrative. I know there have been some mixed reception to the ending, like specifically the ending sequences, which that's different strokes, right? But I think the overall narrative it builds is really good and really believable and pretty fantastic. Great writing, great characters, and all that. It's
really weird when Tony Stark shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that,
but I also know like Immortality has a good hook to it, and I mean Plague Tale Requiem, like half the reason to play that is the narrative, right? So it's a bit of a toss up with the unknown for me in this one. Yeah.
But what's your vote right now?
Right now, Ragnarok. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and you're only halfway through.
Yeah. I haven't even seen a bunch of the storylines pay off, but yeah.
Right, do you have a feeling?
I haven't played any of them.
Wow.
Well, maybe The Hunt will be in the next one. Best game direction.
Doubtful.
You're right. Oh, hey, it's like the exact same list except for one of the games. It
literally is. Yeah.
Best game direction for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, and Stray. If we're talking innovation,
So I'm gonna take Ragnarok out of it. It's bigger.
The same.
But the direction is largely the same.
Yeah. In terms of gameplay, if you played God of War 2018, you know what you're getting into with Ragnarok.
Not a big change, and that was because Corey's not the game director of Ragnarok. It's Eric Williams, I think is his name.
Yeah, and
really he specifically said that he was not going to be like, I don't need to make a name for myself. We have something that works very well, and this is part of a duology, so it's gonna keep a very similar feel. So that's intentional,
right? And I think Horizon Forbidden West, to me, I think there's a little bit of innovation, and like you get the paraglider and you get to climb a few more walls and rocks. Like they've added more like grab points, but that also kind of feels like a direct response to the fact that Breath of the Wild came out 3 days after the first game.
Yeah, it's it does a lot of neat stuff. I mean, if it's following a natural progression of how Horizon should get bigger, I think. But it's also one of those problems because it's a sequel. It's like, boy, it's not that overly different from the first one. Like, there is stuff. I think the combat's more interesting and it's got more going on, particularly if you're playing it at a harder difficulty. But it's still largely more just the same. So it's really hard to like talk about a sequel in a way that's like, oh, this is amazing
innovation.
So much, we've so much new.
Yeah. Immortality, an unfortunate unknown quantity for us right now.
I wish. I hear nothing but really good things about it.
Yeah, and then Stray. I don't know if I would give it to Stray necessarily. I think there is some interest in it and how it translates like normal, like typical adventure game stuff to a cat.
Yeah,
right? To a cat-sized cat. Like you're not some big monster or whatever. You're just a little thing, right?
A little guy.
Yeah, I think that is kind of neat. But to me, the open world, like how seamlessly that open world plays in Elden Ring, where it's Dark Souls open world, right? So, but that has a lot of risk inherently attached to it, and yet Elden Ring, I think, pulls it off really well.
Everything I've heard,
how much stuff they were able to hide throughout the game as well, where players would get creative and find something that like you would not have expected.
Yeah,
I think is very important to why Elden Ring did as well as it did.
Yeah.
Well, it made an open world thing where like you could try to follow a set path or do a constantly look at the map, but you didn't feel like you needed to.
Right.
And I think that's really hard to do with an open world thing.
I agree.
That's super difficult.
And I think it also helps you as the player set your own pace, right? Like if you want a harder, hardcore experience, you can go straight to the bosses, or if you want to like make it a little easier, you can go around, farm enemies, and it feels more organic. You don't have to run the same routes over and over. You can like go to this side dungeon, go to that side dungeon, and you feel like you're making progress and getting stronger at the same time, right? So I think to me it's Elden Ring for game direction. The final one,
the big boy, the game of the year. Pretty familiar list here. Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade 3. So before we say what are we guessing is probably going to win it?
Elden Ring.
Oh, the
actual award. What do you think will probably win it?
Question. It's going to end up being Elden Ring.
I wouldn't be so. I think it's one of two. For sure.
I think it's Elden Ring or Ragnarok.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring probably does have the edge, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if it goes to Ragnarok either.
I think that Ragnarok
God of War beat out Red Dead 2, which was arguably a little more deserving with the shit it pulled off.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I feel like Ragnarok is also benefiting from it just came out.
That's true. You get the recency stuff. That helps out. Elden Ring came out in January.
Yeah. Well, then again, God of War 2018 came out in April of that year, and I think Red Dead came out in October or something. So
something like that, September, October.
So God of War won that. So
it's true.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think if I had to guess, among the three of us, we're in a similar boat if it's between those two. I don't know if I feel strongly about the rest of these games to say the game of the year.
I don't think so.
Xenoblade has no draw for me at all.
To me, Xenoblade and Stray, personally, I'm like not even thinking about them. They're like not
Nope.
on this list in my head.
Nope.
Yeah. And Horizon is fine, but I also feel like I played that game in 2015 when it was called Assassin's Creed. I played that game in 2012 when it was called Sleeping Dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's still very open world, like typical.
I talked about a bunch of the podcast that open world fatigue hits hard in that because it's definitely more of the old formula.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And A Plague Tale Requiem, I haven't played. So that's the one unknown quantity on this list for me. But knowing just my personal taste in games, I don't think it would, like, even if I played it, I don't think it would be in that conversation between Elden Ring and Ragnarok in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not beaten Ragnarok yet, but I kind of. There's just too much that I love about it already. And I just know there's more I'm going to like. So.
It's fair.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I've beaten both Elden Ring and Ragnarok, and to me they're both really good, but
Excellent games.
different itches, right? Like different. They go for different things. I don't know. I don't even know if I can choose. Honestly, I can't right now. Because like to me, Ragnarok is still really fresh too. Like I just finished it 2 days ago, so like I'm still on that Ragnarok high, and I feel like I need some space from it to really suss out. You know, did I enjoy my time with Elden Ring more, or did I like Ragnarok more? Because I mean, both of them, I'm liking them pretty equally so far. Like Elden Ring, right after I rolled credits, I played through it at New Game Plus, right? Like I went through about halfway through and stopped. God of War Ragnarok, I'm feeling that same thing where like I'm done with it. I'm cleaning up some end game stuff, but I want to go through and New Game Plus it again. Like that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a tough one.
It's got to be God of War.
For you, it's God of War.
Yeah. It's just good shit.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Elden Ring and like From Software games in general now, I always feel like they're in this kind of weird place because they feel niche still, right? Because they're like hard, like you feel like they're hardcore. It's like for the quote unquote real hardcore combat gamers. But then Elden Ring sold like 1 billion copies or whatever, right?
Yeah, they just announced the sale total. I can't remember what it was, but it was a lot.
Yeah. I think it was double-digit millions.
I think it was like 17 million, I think is in my head. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's
so
such
it's
an
like
impressive number.
Right, for a hard game like Elden Ring, like that just has that reputation of like you're gonna die a lot, right? And 17 million people wanted to play that, so it's not really like a hidden gem or a cult following or whatever anymore, right? It's like it's pretty mainstream.
It's pretty mainstream.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't vote right now. I know it's a cop out, but I can't.
Coward.
Right? Do you have as someone who's played and beaten both of those games? How are you
absolutely.
Who's played every game on that list?
Every year, it's like, oh, I should probably get a PS5 or an Xbox or whatever console I don't have as a mostly PC gamer.
Right.
Tends to kind of screw me over.
But Auden, you're pretty set on God of War.
I am pretty set on God of War.
All right. Well, we'll find out on, what is it, December 8th? Is that the day of the ceremony? The day of the game?
That's right. 12/8.
Yeah, December 8th. We'll find out if it goes to God of War or Elden Ring, or hey, maybe it might go to Stray. So who knows? Could be a toss-up. It's the beauty of the awards, right?
We'll find out.
Now the real question is, what's going to be the one more thing? What's going to be the big secret reveal at the Game Awards, right?
It's going to be Death Stranding 2, right? It's Kojima.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Kojima's next thing because he's working on 2 things, right? Like
G Hoff and him are buddies.
Yeah, because he's working on a thing for Xbox and then Death Stranding 2. So who knows, man? All right, let's shift gears. We're going to talk about some games. We have our Pokemon video I mentioned before. You can check that out if you want some thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Stretch gets into it with all the performance stuff and all the open world stuff and all the is it better or worse than Arceus stuff. You can check that out on our YouTube channel or in the links below. Rut, you just got the Valve Index.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel virtual reality'd?
It's pretty dope. Like I wasn't sure what to expect going into it. It's just something I've wanted to get for a while. And luckily I'm able to afford it this year.
If you'd stopped buying so much Grogu shit, you could have got it before.
Could have gotten 2 indexes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a new one right here. The first thing we tried was Beat Saber, obviously,
Of course.
and that is a super enjoyable experience. And
Wait,
I've started
is
branching.
this your first time playing Beat Saber like ever?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't really have any friends that have VR. So for me, well, the ones that do live in another state from college. So they've been prodding me to get something for a while. We're talking through what we're going to play, like multiplayer wise, but we started with Beat Saber. Then I spent a boatload of money on Steam before realizing there's a Steam sale on Tuesday.
Well, you're just like self-owning all the time. Index 2 will be coming out, and you just bought that one.
Index 2 will get announced tomorrow, I'm sure, or right after this podcast, and I'm going to be like,
that's the one more thing at the Game Awards.
Index 2.
That would hurt me so bad. But,
Gaben shows up on the big screen.
Yeah, Beat Saber's been fun. I modded it, obviously, and grabbed just a boatload of songs, one of which is Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. Not easy. But one that we jumped into yesterday or the day before is Pistol Whip, which is fucking sick and will make you sweat. Like you are dodging bullets. It's Metal Hellsinger in VR for the most part. Like you're trying to shoot the enemies on the beat. And then there's lots of kind of arcadey modes in terms of like you will literally like pistol whip enemies, and there's a modifier that you can only reload by doing that. That makes some of it very interesting. And I jumped into one called Blade and Sorcery, which is that's
got a lot of good clips online.
Yeah. That one took me a bit to get used to, from kind of like getting your VR legs for the most part, like a little bit of nausea, until probably the third or fourth session, at which point I felt a lot more comfortable, kind of in the movement. And there were a couple like free ones I grabbed too. Like, one of them is Star Wars Droid Repair Bay, which is delightful. Like you're just repairing droids.
Nice.
I would absolutely do that.
You can pat BB-8, which was like a highlight for me.
You slap his fucking head off.
No, you can't.
Yeah, get R2 in there. The real droid.
Yeah. And then there was the tech test from LucasArts. What was that called? Tatooine. Trials on Tatooine. It's like it's an impressive like kind of display, but there's really only 5 minutes of like combat. It was meant to be like, I guess, a test for LucasArts, which guys, please, reflecting blaster bolts back at people is fun. But I've just been kind of like grabbing different stuff. There's a couple things on my list I want to pick up. I'm playing one called Tracery of Fate that is fairly new. It's like kind of old school dungeon crawler type thing. So I've been kind of leaning towards those and the shooters for things that I kind of want to explore.
Is Half-Life Alyx on that list?
Yes, it is downloaded. I just haven't played it yet. So it's been a lot of kind of exploring.
Right, because it comes with the index, right? Like
it comes with the index, yeah. My wife, you joke about me spending money on Baby Yoda shit. My wife ordered the MetaQuest 2 this morning because she's annoyed that she can't play Beat Saber when I'm working during the day. So now we're going to have a MetaQuest 2 as well, which will give me some more games to play that aren't on Steam.
Right.
So,
well, can you mod Beat Saber on MetaQuest? I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah,
because the one that we're getting, it doesn't require a computer.
Yeah, the Quest 2 is standalone. I just don't remember if you can mod Beat Saber on it. I know you can like connect it to a computer with the link or whatever it's called.
You can use it with Steam. Yeah. So I will probably upgrade her computer at some point to be able to support VR. I mean, it's got a 1070 in it, so it could still.
Now, is the final goal for you two to go on a virtual reality date in Meta Horizons, finally complete the loop and join the metaverse gang?
With legs?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
No.
Your games. It's going to be all games. The metaverse is not even remotely interesting to me.
Have you played a game called Holodecks? Just look it up. It's got 3 X's.
But on Steam, first of all.
Okay. Shame you can't find it anywhere else.
Google it, aren't I?
Oh, I'm scared of what this could be. I don't even want to know.
It's what you think it is.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
It's a Rut's kind of game.
That's right.
Sure.
That's a different kind of Beat Saber.
Fucking hell. But yeah, it's
heavily modified Beat Saber.
It's been a really cool experience starting to explore VR. It's completely different than any other gaming experience, and I think as things like the Meta Quest 2 become more affordable, we're going to start to see some really cool applications.
I think the most exciting thing in gaming to watch right now is the VR space. Like, it's still moving along. There's not a lot of like killer apps yet. There's a few here and there. There's some okay stuff. The technology's still getting figured out, but it's one of those things that when it hits its stride, it's going to be one of the coolest experiences around. No question.
Yeah. Like, I think
everybody talks about metaverse. I think gaming will surpass that immensely.
Like, we're years away from it being like consumer grade in the same way the Switch is, right? Where like everyone's gonna want it and easily buy it and easily get into it and use it forever. But when that day comes,
it'd be fucking rad.
Racing games are only going to be in VR. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, racing stuff, horror games will be the next fucking level.
Yeah. So on my list is to pick up a set of Corsa, because I have a steering wheel as well, and then I want to get a flight stick and do some of the like fighter jet stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so like for me, I think the Sims are going to be really cool.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. How much it would be like so much easier to have a setup like that, because if people want to make like a racing sim setup at home, they have to have this massive rig and these massive fucking TVs around them so they can see stuff, and that takes away a lot of that you need for it.
Like at that point, all you need is the rig for like the steering wheel, and like if you get like a stick shift and
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited to try that.
Yeah,
but I'm waiting for the sale on Tuesday before I spend any more money.
Right. I'm curious, how was it setting up what do they call the lighthouses or light boxes or whatever?
The ones right here.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to put them on opposite corners of the room. And they don't have to plug into the computer, which is nice. So like I have this one here and it runs a cable back to there. And then I have the other one over here. And my space is not large. I mean, you're supposed to have 5 by 6. I've got maybe 5 by 10 ish. And it works perfectly fine. So, I mean, it like room setup took me 10 minutes at the most.
Not that big of a space, huh?
We're gonna move it. I'm gonna move it into the living room for Thanksgiving.
You just described half of Robert's apartment.
Yeah. Like I thought about getting a Vive, but then I was like, okay, I'd have to nail one to the wall up here.
Yeah.
And another one up there or something. I'd be like, it's a lot.
As long as they are on the 2 corners of the room, like I might mount them in here. I haven't decided yet. They don't necessarily have to be like hanging or anything. So, I mean, it's literally standing up. So if you've got like, one that's a little higher and one that's a little lower, that does it. And I haven't run into any issues with it not reading the controllers or anything.
Right.
You don't need a ton of space, and it does a great job of being like, hey, you're too fucking close to the wall right before you smack it.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I think for me, the next I'm waiting on PSVR. I think that's going to be my jump into the space. Like I've tried the medical; it was pretty cool too.
I'm with you. That PSVR seemed like it's expensive right now, but it seemed like the one to give it a go with.
The MetaQuest is $350 right now.
Yeah,
with Beat Saber and Resident Evil. So it's not bad. Like we're definitely getting to that point where it's becoming more financially viable. It's closer to like, you know, buying a console at this point. Yeah. So I'd say 1-2 years and we're looking at it being a little more mainstream, I think.
Yeah.
I think it still needs that library of games. Like there's still plenty that are like okay-ish, but there's none of those like huge big killer ones. Like Beat Saber is probably the biggest VR game, right?
Beat Saber, Blade and Sorcery's got a huge.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
In terms of like big, great experience, I know it's Half-Life Alyx. Everybody's like, that's the AAA game that is it right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm exploring as much as I can, just grabbing kind of random stuff and playing it for the most part. Just trying to see the different applications.
Or like holodecks.
Skyrim VR is $10 right now, so I'm gonna do it. There's also Fallout VR and some other stuff that I might try out just to see what it would be like.
You are, you know, when like those executives are sitting around in their conference rooms, you are
like, this dumb motherfucker is gonna buy it.
They love this guy. As this guy. They're picturing this guy, and it's just you on a PowerPoint, and they're like, this man is who we love him.
Yeah, the exactly to release a like $70 Baby Yoda simulator where I can just walk around with my green space son. Sold.
And pet him.
Yeah, just that's all I want to do. I just want to give him pets.
You sick bash. You'd want him to like choke you or something too.
No, that's it.
That one's strange.
He does that. Have you not seen Mandalorian? He like just starts choking people, dude. And Mando's like, fucking stop. What are you doing? Can't do that.
Oh, that's the Valve Index. Can't wait for the Valve Index 2 to be announced in a couple weeks. I think for the rest of this pod, we're going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. We will get into spoilers up to roughly, I would say, what is that, 10 to 15 hours in? It's like
something like that.
When you first go to Vanaheim and you get to a major plot point in Vanaheim, that's where that's going to be our cutoff point for spoilers. So it won't spoil anything beyond that. I know Athens played more than last week, and we can like chat about that. And with an interview with Danielle Basutti, we talk about, she mentions bits of that moment too, which again, you can hear more about her thoughts tomorrow morning. But we figured we could chat about it now too, kind of some background. So this is the point. Spoilers. That you've been warned. And that now spoilers will begin. So this is the part where Freya forgives Kratos for murdering her son, and Kratos is like, I shouldn't have taken the choice away from you.
Yeah, he doesn't regret doing it at all, but he regrets not letting Freya choose whether he should have done it.
Yes.
Yeah. He still stands by the choice that he made.
Right.
Originally, but
yes.
Yeah.
So at this point, Freya, I mean, like even before then, Freya's like your companion, right? Like in terms of she takes the place of Atreus in the gameplay, right? But then beyond that, she becomes a companion, narratively speaking, as well, right? Like she becomes like one of your partners.
She's like, let's go fuck up Odin, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of reason to hate Odin. Odin's kind of fucked her over bad,
right?
Big time.
Mm-hmm. And remind me, is the before this is when we played as Atreus now at this point?
Yes,
right?
You've played as Atreus once, at least once, maybe twice.
Yeah, I want to say you go to Jotunheim.
I have not been to Jotunheim.
No, okay.
So you've been to Ironwood with him?
Yeah, that's in Jotunheim.
Oh, I guess consider Jotunheim. So yeah, Ironwood. Yeah, I think that point where he's got the prophecy, he sees that last thing where he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to become buddies with Odin, and also Kratos must die, and he's like, fuck that, I get to stop, I gotta fight against prophecy and fate. Fuck you, fate. He
sees the thing that Kratos saw at the end of the first game that was covered in
he saw a thing with Kratos, but the other thing that wasn't shown, I don't think at all before, was Atreus standing with Odin. I don't think that was at the end of God of War.
That was a broken piece of the mural.
That one he sees him like kneeling before Odin or something like that, or like standing next to him as like he's partnered up with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so at that point you've seen more of the Aesir gods. You see more of Odin. You see more of Thor, right?
I don't think up at that point you don't see any more of Odin or Thor up until Freya's in. You see him after.
Yes. Okay. So we'll talk about that bit.
Yeah. Freya joins you. Like you go through a journey of where she goes to get married, and you get told the story because she was married to Odin in the past, and Baldur was their son.
Right.
And she's going through like the regrets of like she fucked up. She shouldn't have married him, and it's like destroying the symbolic things that go with it, along with freeing herself from a curse because Odin cursed her from not being able to leave Midgard ever.
Yes.
She couldn't use the pathways. And obviously there was a workaround thanks to Sindri and Brock, but now she, which is going to have some consequences, I feel like, because they had to kill Nidhogg or Nidhogg, however you say it.
Yeah.
As soon as they killed it, I was like, oh, that's bad news.
Yeah, because Nidhogg is like what does Nidhogg do? Kind of like protects
he's like the
realms or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a caretaker for Yggdrasil, right? And like prunes back the roots and make sure those are all good. So like the tree that connects everything, it's like I make sure things run smoothly there. It's like that seems important.
Yep,
like seems very important. But yeah, you and Kratos fucked that up together. I mean, you and Freya, Freya killed Nidhogg.
Yeah, that was a pretty good fight too.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty rad. Like
a lot of
it ends with him like trying to escape back through a fucking like rift, and Frey's like, "Nope, gotta stop that shit now." Just cuts his fucking head off.
Yeah,
closes the rift. It's like, damn. Mm-hmm. She's on a path, man, that she will not be denied. Mm-hmm. It's a big contrast to the beginning of the game of where she's like, kill Kratos by any means necessary.
Now it's like kill Odin by any means. It's like she shifted the target, right?
Yeah, she shifted the anger somewhat and realized that like Kratos really wasn't the source of why she feels the way. Like he killed Baldur, but she's come to terms with why he did it.
Mm-hmm. And I like how here we see the evolution of Kratos, where he's not as gung ho about like we have to kill Odin, right?
Yeah, like he's always like war is bad. Like we should just like fucking go away. Like I don't want any of this. And Atreus is like, fuck you, Dad. I can solve Ragnarok. Yeah. And Kratos is pissed. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if that was this was before that where Atreus shows up walking through the portal and or is getting ready to, and Kratos just walks fucking through. He's like, where have you been? Yeah. That was such a badass moment if he walks through the door, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's one of those that's one of those full name moments. Like parent calls you by the full name, right?
It was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Kratos and Freya.
Yeah.
I like that. Kratos is very open with her. He's like, I'll just tell you what happened to me, man. Like, tells the story of what he did to his family and how he was tricked into it by the gods, and he did everything he could to, like, he basically killed the entire pantheon of the Greek gods. Yes. And he's like, yeah, that didn't do anything for me. It didn't really matter. In the end, like, didn't really help.
Which I honestly like that they got into it in this game compared to the last one, because I feel like the last one, I remember a lot of the marketing around it, or at least like the discussions around it before it came out, was like, oh, is this like a hardcore reboot? Like, is this a brand new Kratos? Like, is this complete? Or is this a continuation, right? Like, I think that was still kind of up in the air for some people.
Yeah.
And included in that in 2018, like Kratos never really talks about his past.
That's what I say. This is the first time, other than maybe a throwaway line here and there when they're talking about stuff for someone asking him a question, but he will not talk about it.
Yeah, he's like,
now he's being a little opening about. If people don't know some of the Kratos history, it's interesting to know.
Yeah, like the closest we see in the first game is like when Zeus confronts him kind of in Helheim, right? Or like you hear Zeus talking to Kratos in Helheim, and it's like a vision of Zeus, because that's what Helheim does. It torments you, right?
Yeah.
So it's trying to torment Kratos, and he still doesn't really open up about it, too much. Yeah. Like he just kind of says, well, I think at that point Atreus learns like, oh, that was Kratos' dad. But he doesn't go into it too much.
Not a lot.
But in this he goes full in, like, yeah, I murdered my family, I murdered my whole home, I murdered all the gods, everything. Yeah.
So I killed Odin, like the Greek god or Greek version of Odin. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm still full of regrets, and it wasn't worth it. Basically, is his takeaway.
Right.
And it's so much was talked about with the first game. If he's learning to be a dad or whatever, and now you're kind of seeing him as he has a perspective, right or wrong, whether you agree with what he's trying to do with Atreus. Like he has made his mind up of what he sees as a good path of parenting, and him trying to give advice to Frey is pretty funny sometimes. Like it's like. You, the guy that like just learned how to do this. I guess to be fair, it's been several years. He's been a lone dad at that point. But
yeah. Well, there is also that other layer of like when he's giving the advice to Freya, it's like, here's how you should be a parent, coming to you from the parent who murdered your son. Like,
yeah. Also, I'm the one that murdered him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is very much like two sides of the same coin of the pathways they go on, because they're both starting out with a vengeance. I'm gonna kill everybody. Fuck you all. And it has the realization of like, okay, that's not the right idea, probably.
Yeah.
And I think part of that too is not to give Kratos all the credit at all, but like it's nice to have an example of someone that did that, and he's like, yeah, I wish I hadn't have done that. That sucked.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's been around this before, right?
But it also feels like, and I haven't, like I said, I'm not done with it. It also feels like she is still going down the similar path of she's like, oh yeah, well then obviously Odin's the source of my problem, so fuck him. So it's still going after like a gods in a way,
right?
To go kill them. And now she's just teamed up with Kratos, the God Killer.
Yeah, that's what Thor even calls him in that first fight, like, oh, the God Killer, right, or something along those lines. Yeah, I'm curious, how do you feel about Atreus and Angerboda?
That was strange. Is it me, or did it give you like heavy Zendaya vibes with the way her character went? I guess immediately I was like, is this fucking MJ from Spider-Man?
She's like
Spider-Man
quirky.
movies. In a way, it just gave this almost exact vibes. It's like, whoa, that's kind of bizarre. Just felt the same. I don't know. She showed up. Well, I guess I can't say that, but it was a weird. Like he gets to learn about his giantness because he's part giant, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting that you get to meet the person who would paint all of the shrines.
That's right. Yeah. So
her mom painted a lot of them, and then she also helped paint some of them, right?
Yeah, taking up the mantle.
Yeah. I've talked to other people, and I think they were saying that around that point is where they were getting a little bored with it. I mean, I think that some of it's understandable in that like Atreus is not as fun to play as Kratos.
Oh, no, he's not at all. I mean, it's fine, but later on he gets a little more fun.
He gets a little more fun, but I still think that Kratos is like loaded, right?
Yeah, Kratos is fucking badass.
Right.
It's hard when like you have the Leviathan. It's kind of hard to top it.
Yeah, like there's this fun conversation later where like it's like one of those side, like, while you're roaming around the world, and Atreus is like, hey dad, which of your weapons is the favorite? And Kratos is like, I have no preference. They're all tools for the right task, right? And then Atreus is like, oh, I like your axe. And Kratos is like, I too like the axe.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's very very on point. And I
guess I can see it being boring. Like that time you spend with her isn't the most exciting. It's very like lore dumpy, and like we're just learning stuff. It's like you're just exploring the world, running around with her. So there's not a lot of like interactive cool shit to do. Like if you like to just look at stuff and listen to conversations, perfect. It's good time.
Yeah, it's probably the closest the game kind of feels to like a walking simulator almost, right?
A little bit, little bits of pockets of combat every once in a while.
Yeah, it's very much like go down this hallway, learn some stuff, go to that hallway, pick up the thing, right? But I do think it's kind of necessary for the narrative because Atreus needs to learn something about his giant side, and without mom,
Well, and he needed to see that final panel because that seems to be a big motivator in his actions right now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those frustrating things that I guess is kind of true, where he doesn't want to have a real conversation with Kratos and be like, hey, this is what I've learned and this is why I want to do what I'm doing, because I want to. But I think part of what he knows is that Kratos is like, if death comes for me, like he even says at one point, what death can have me when they want, like
when it earns me.
Yeah, when it earns me is what he says. But it's like he's also like, when I die, I die. I don't give a shit. Like he's all about protecting Atreus and giving him a good future, and doesn't want to see him do the shit he did.
Right.
because like he talks about growing up as a Spartan too at some point with Freya, and he's like, I do not want that for Atreus. That is the worst. Like, I do not want him to be like me, essentially.
He wants him to be better, which is like the overall motif, right? Of
exactly.
I mean, this game is just trying to. It's a pretty common motif in like parenting, right? It's that you want your kids not to be you, but to be better than you.
Yeah, and
that's kind of the running theme throughout the first game and a lot of this Ragnarok one too.
And it's definitely the big conflict between Kratos and Atreus, and that he wants to have some ownership in like solving the problem or being a piece to it, and not follow everything Kratos says, because he's like, I never get to have a say in fucking anything. Yeah. And so he's like, I'm just gonna do it by myself then. I had this thought when I was playing it too. I was like, is there any better like fucking writing tool than like an angsty teenager in a plot? Yeah. To just fuck everything up. To just be irrational and be like, fuck you, dad, and then go like, oh, well, everything's gone to shit now.
I think it's interesting that Atreus kind of falls into a lot of the stereotypes with like angsty teen that you see in a lot of media, but I feel like it's pulled off really well here because you have all these added fantasy and godhood elements that are going on.
And part of it's like, well, I mean, you definitely can see where Atreus is coming from.
Yeah,
because Kratos too is not like you can't really talk to him. He's like, no, this is the right path, so that's what we're doing. Like, end of story.
Right.
Atreus, don't argue with me. Fucking eat your stew.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very mad dad kind of. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a wrap for this episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We went a little long. I think that the Game Awards stuff took up some time, but we hope you had a lot of fun. And if you did, please feel free to leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on, or leave a comment down below and let us know, how far are you in God of War? Are you enjoying it? Do you dig the story so far? Or alternatively, do you agree or disagree with any of our Game Award picks? Do you feel like Stray actually deserves Game of the Year? Or do you think we're dunking on Xenoblade 3 too much? Let us know in the comments down below. Again, keep an eye out tomorrow. We're dropping the interview with Danielle Basutti, who plays Freya. It's a pretty fun interview, pretty exciting one, and we learned a lot of stuff about not just how she sees the character Freya, but how it's like working with Christopher Judge, how it's like working in video games. So she's pretty new to the video game performance space. She's been in TV and movies most of the time.
There's also some cool bits of information you probably didn't know, and some little teasers for stuff she might be doing that she lets us know about.
Yeah. So check that out tomorrow. We'll tweet it out. We'll put it on our YouTube. You'll be able to find it for sure. If you want the rest of our stuff, news, reviews, features, etc., we're at techraptor.net. We have a feature going up today about the Uncle Ben card in Marvel Snap. We interviewed some of the devs about it, so if you want to check that out, feel free to. But if you want more of this show, we will be back next Monday, and we will see you then.